Hey there, Internet. Keeve here, and welcome to the Cars with Keeve YouTube channel. In this video, we're going over what I've learned when it comes to what you would call a mid-tier pressure washer. Now, the perspective of this video is all about car washing. We're going to test these with the specified nozzle that I think is going to make them all have about close to the same PSI. So we're having an equal playing field at pressure, and then whatever the result of the gallons per minute. Now, I have individual videos on all of these. So if you're looking for more detailed information and more testing with different orifices and stuff, go to those videos. I'll have them linked below. You have the Big Boy Pro, triplex pump, 4-pole motor, very quiet, works under 15 amps very easily. The AR630, I'm pretty sure it's a 2-pole motor, but I haven't been able to research to be able to find it out, but I'm pretty sure it's 2-pole, but it is this triplex pump as well. I don't know what they share. I mean, they're very different in how they're built, but the triplex idea is definitely there. Same, all three of these basically have an oil fill cap and a drain, pretty much all in the same location. Very easy to do. The Pro and the 630 have sight windows, so that's nice. The Duo over here, it being what you would call a prosumer, more in the category of the 2.3 and probably the Comet as well. It still has oil drain and fill, which is really nice in that type of category. It's an axial pump. The Comet's an axial pump. 2.3, we can't say it's their 5-piston pump technology, but it's kind of axial based to a certain point where the intake and the output is. The Comet 1700, it has a wall mounting built in. This 2.3 has wall mounting built in the back in this cage, and this can be removed from the cage to be used as well. This one and the 2.3 share the same type of serviceability. You have to take the entire casing off to get to the pump, to take the pump out, take the bolts out to be able to pour the oil out and back in. Same thing with the Active 2.3. You have to take these you have to take the pump head off, and replacement parts. There are replacement part and rebuild kits for the Comet 1700. I don't know about rebuild kits for the 2.3, but the pump head is replaceable, and they're going to have replaceable components for some of the stuff on the inside and a lot of the other stuff on the outside, like micro switches and capacitors. Big Boy is saying that they're going to have parts as well, and Active said they're going to be available and easy to get. Big Boy as well. I don't know if they're there yet because we're kind of in the early stages. The biggest thing that the 630 has over all of these is that it's been out for a while. It's proven. It's reliable. There's very few complaints about it, really overall. I think in the beginning there's a difference between the plug now versus the plug then. The plug now is a 20 amp plug for a 20 amp outlet. It has one prong going this way and one prong going this way, which a lot of people think is some kind of foreign country. No, it's just a 20 amp outlet in the United States. Before, I think it was coming different, and people were complaining because it was tripping their breaker, because this is a true 20 amp, a dedicated 20 amp device. But in this video, we're going to see, can we run that under 15 amps? And the one thing I will tell you, if you pick any of these 5, I don't think in the end that you've made a bad decision. Remember, we're all early adopters here. These were pre-orders, Big Boys, everything. We're taking a chance on the reliability. Big Boy I really never heard of until it came out. Active I've known for years. I've had them since the VE51. I trust the products. We've had some issues along the way that they've made and updated. The customer service is pretty good. I've never had many complaints about it. Maybe 1 or 2 out of tons. Big Boy, the launch didn't go so well. We had the underperformance of the Pro, and the Duo came out overamped. They are sending out nozzles and orifices to fix that because they shipped the wrong foam cannon with the Duo that had the wrong orifice, causing it to overamp as well. The Duo as well, in the comments of the videos, there's been no complaint yet. The only complaint was overamping. On the Pro, have had several issues. Most of them around the outlet here. One person, this was, I believe, cracked, leaking. Another person had an issue with the spring on the inside of this, because there's a spring inside of this inlet here. It was just humming and not running. It wouldn't pump. It wouldn't do anything. And he said his experience with customer service was bad because it took them 3 days, and he had to threaten a chargeback on his credit card. And then they responded back, and he opened this up and found out his spring was broken in half. So they sent him some replacement springs. Another person has an issue that's still unresolved. It doesn't pump. He thinks it's a capacitor on the inside. There is a capacitor here. There is a reset button here for overload. Other than that, that's all I know of. I've heard really good things about customer service, and I've heard some not so good things, but they are launching, so hopefully they improve on that. The biggest issue that we have with the Active is the noise. It's loud. The Duo is loud as well. Pro and the 630 are very quiet. The Comet, I heard nobody say anything wrong with it. You'll never really ever hear people who are having a good experience. You only ever hear the bad experience. They call that the vocal minority. And we don't know how big that vocal minority is against all of the ones that are having good results. So that's one thing that's kind of tough to decide. Very few people, like I said, come back and say they're doing well. Several people did come back on 2.3 and said it's doing amazing and that the noise didn't bother them. I guess I covered just about everything. Like I said, all 5 of them are pretty good. I haven't, like I said, there's been some issues with this. Hopefully they rectify those, fix those. Don't forget to check out the links below for anything in the video. The videos on these individual units. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let's get testing. So first up is the Comet 1700, which in this group, I believe that this is the 5th place finisher. This is about $650. I got on Amazon, so it was free shipping. I did have to pay taxes on it, so closer to $700. As an all-in package, if you want it all together, I think it's pretty good. But the restrictiveness of this stuff does hurt it some. It just doesn't have the performance overall. We'll show you that here in a minute. So a 15mm fitting hooked up to our Kevlar Blue Shield 50-foot hose, 3/8 inch. We have a 5/8 inch Flexzilla water hose going into it. This is for startup from your sound perspective. You see that noise? Not bad. Started, instantly stopped like it should. Now the preferred orifice for the 1700 is a 4.0. It's about 950 and it's just under 15 amps at like 14.2. So the perfect nozzle that we could think of so far to keep us under 15, get us close to the 1000. Yeah, right at 950. If this is running on auto start stop, this is gonna be running every single time that is. This is gonna be closer to your hand. It's gonna be closer to your ear. So that, I think that's the sound that should be affecting you really overall, is the combination of the two. Here we go. To me, it's not that bad of a sound. It is louder than, say, like the Pro and the 630, obviously. So time for the bucket test. Very simple process. We have our scale. I have it zeroed out so the tear of the bucket doesn't add in. We run exactly 1 minute water in here, and then we convert the pounds of weight to gallons. That's about it. Another thing I want to say about the Comet is it's a smooth delivery when it comes from the stop to the start. A slight, you know, but as you can see, as I keep going, there's no like pause kick. It just flows. It ramps up a little bit, but it ramps in quickly. So you got 16.14 pounds, 1.933 gallons per minute. So very good performance. What I was expecting out of the unit. Pretty good overall unit. It's just not, to me, against the other 4. It's just not on the same level. All right, we have our Griots bottle and cap combo with the MJJC Pro V2 top here. So it's going to be a good foaming unit. 32-to-1 incredible suds in here. That's a great dilution for this. You can use code CarsWithKeev to save 10% on their website. But the biggest thing here is I've changed the orifice in here to a 1.47. If you're looking for something similar, a 1.50, which is what a lot of gas pressure washers use, that's this. Will it foam at this, and what's the amp going to be? Well, it can foam, that's for sure. What's the amps? 12.3 amps, so very, very safe. Well, I was rinsing and forgot to record. So this is the rinsing of the 4.0 on this. This is at 950 at 1.93 gallons per minute. As you can see, the rinsing power at that 1.93 versus, say, a cheaper Ryobi at 1.4. If you get the right orifice, you can get 1.4. It's just more. Is it needed? Obviously, none of this is needed. We can get by with a water hose and a bucket to wash our cars, but some people like cooler things, and businesses like more efficiency. More rinsing power is more efficient if you can rinse properly and not get carried away. Me, the cooler it is, the more I seem to want to rinse. So I end up probably wasting more water in the end and wasting more time. But from the noise level, to go from, say, a screeching Ryobi, Greenworks, whatever it was, to the more industrial sound of this, even though the decibels could be higher or the same, I prefer that sound every day of the week. The Big Boy Duo. This is 4th on my list. Obviously, yours could be different. The biggest reasons for this is from the previous video is It's very vibrating and loud, very imbalanced, which was another thing. Its motor's very heavy on this end. It's very light on one side and very heavy on the other side. I just don't like it. It's good. That's all there is to it. Let's turn it on for the first time. It's got a pop to it too. You know what I'm talking about? It takes a second to get going. Now for this one, the suggested is a 4.5. That gets it like 930, 940 PSI. And it keeps it under 15 amps, like 14.3. I like the sound of the Comet better. Yeah, about 930. It's $550 on their website. Shipping's about 65 bucks. So it's going to be about $615. And then if you live in the state of Georgia, where I live, that's where the warehouse is, you charge taxes on top of that. I stated in the video that you have to pay taxes, but I found out that people in other states didn't have to pay sales tax. All right, time for sound. So right here. $90.91 with the pressure here and the unit close by. This is with it over here by the camera with me having the pressure right here. $86, $87. The sound of the Comet to me is better than this sound. I just don't like it. I don't know what there is about it. It's that sound. I don't know. Man, that thing is shaking my phone all over the place. 17.84 pounds, 2.137. So 2.14 gallons per minute on the Duo at about 930, 940. Now, some people are going to say, hey, you probably could have ran a 4.0 and then change the regulator down to just kind of adjust for what's going on, but I didn't want to do that. People say, well, you should leave it the way it is in a box. Well, we're Americans here, and if you give us an adjustment knob for min and max, we're going to go all the way to max. If you don't want us to go past max and overamp the machine, put a stopper in there to keep us from doing it. Same setup as the last one with the Incredible studs and the Orpheus sides of 1.47. Now, as you can see, it foams just fine. The amps on that, 13.7 amps. Here's the rinsing of the 4.5. I can't stand this. Like if you forget to secure your tip, oh man, that's gonna be something else. I don't want to shoot it like at the hood, but let's shoot it over here. Holy shoot! It put a hole in my garage door. Wow, that's some power. That could have been a nice chip in that paint. Well, we just discovered something, didn't we? Like I said with the Comet was a calmer ramp up. It wasn't as like crazy, but that pop, the Big Boy Pro, for me is third place. And you're like, wow, why was it at third place? Well, because it's got competitors. The construction is good. The 4-pole motor and the pump. I just think it underperforms for what it's given. Obviously, it's probably built for longevity with that setup. We've already seen in the comments that people have had issues. Triplex pumps, even though they're really cool, I hate where the intake of the hose is. I prefer the intake of hose on the side. It fits my wall setup a lot better. It looks cleaner on a setup. Let's turn it on and hear it. Oh, we got the hum. We got the overload hum. I replicated what the other person had. Did you hear that hum? And it literally said 25 amps. Push this button here on the side, this overload capacity button, which is weird because I've never gone on or over with this. I mean, it happened. You heard it. But it's working fine now. So I'm not sure what to say about it now. So for this one, 1,000 PSI with a 4.0 is the way we're going to go. If we go to a 4.5, we're under we're closer to 900 or less. So we'll be up a little bit. Like I said, 1,000. One thing I wanted to mention is this has already had the update that they showed me to where you can change this nut. I showed it in the video for the update between the Pro and the Duo. I'll link it below. But to where you can kind of make this be a little bit more powerful because it was kind of underpowered all the way up with that, but it's still under 15 amps. It has that pulse that the Duo does at the beginning, that initial hit of pressure, then it slows down and then it starts to ramp up. But it's not as violent as the Duo. See, that's not as violent. It doesn't feel as much as built up pressure as the Duo does. That was like 1,010. So we're still within range. 930 to 1,010, pretty decent range. You see, it's not as bad. And the sound, listen. It's not loud at all. So here's your decibels right here. See, 86, 87 because the sound of this. Now with this closer, much lower than the other two. And like I said, the sound is just better. It's not vibrating. Flow time, we're zeroed out. It was rising up a little bit. It got to about 1,020, 1,025 PSI. Now 2.04 is a great number, but I just think for the machine that you're getting, it's a little underperforming. It is at 1,000. It did creep up to 1,020. So if we can get it down to 930 like the Duo, I think we'd be able to increase the GPM a good bit. I don't know if we'll be able to beat the Duo's GPM. That price is $699 plus shipping, 65 bucks. It's going to be $765, which is what the AR630 costs, free shipping from a lot of sites. I do want to mention that the Pro, the Duo do come with a foam cannon. It's okay as long as you don't drop it. If you drop it, both of them failed the drop test. You got to stick with these type of bottles if you don't want them to break, or just don't drop it, right? Now the Pro foam cannon comes with like a 1.15, and it's well under 15 amps, but we're going to try it with a 1.5, see what it does. They can foam a 1.5, no problem. And I bet you the amps are really low. 12 amps. Here's a rinse with a 4.0. So the AR630, this is going to be number one on most people's list. This right here, it's a 20 amp dedicated unit, but you can run this under 15 amps. The outlet doesn't fit most 15 amp outlets. So you would need to undo the GFCI that they have and convert it to a normal GFCI, which is what I had to do in order to be able to use my amp meter, because my amp meter doesn't even have those prongs to be able to work. 630 does have the same kind of thing that the Duo and the Pro does. It does have that burst and then a ramp up, but the burst isn't like crazy like the Duo is. And it has kind of the same sound that the Pro does. And it does have a smaller form factor overall compared to the big boys. It does have the hose in the front, which I don't like. The inlet and the outlet on this are much further towards the center, which I don't like. I prefer them to be further out. I do like the on-off switch rather than a push button on-off. I like that on-off switch. The overall build, pretty good. I mean, some of the plastic's a little but overall build, the heat sinking and everything, it's just an overall amazing unit. Like I said, reliable. Everybody knows it. It's been out for years. 970, so that puts us dead in that range. 14.6 amps, so we're under 15 amps. Here's the decibels next to the machine, but like I said before, that includes the sound from this. About 87, 88, and that's because this. But remember, when you're washing the car, this is going the entire time. So, I mean, that sound's there. So let's do this. Much quieter, obviously, than the Comet and the Duo. You know the drill, same setup. I mean, you knew it could do that. I mean, we all knew it could do that. And what's the amps? 13.6. This is rinsing with the 4.5, and I apologize earlier if I said 5.0. It's not 5.0, it's a 4.5. I do like the way that this feels more than the Pro. The Pro felt a little, the word's wobbly. I don't know what it is with how the start stop, the ramp up, and how it felt. This just feels better. Time for flow. 18.66. 2.23 gallons per minute. 970 PSI at 2.23. 14.6, 14.7, sometimes 14.8 amps. So we're under 15. We got those numbers. So time for the controversial pick. My number one pick, Dactyl 2.3. Has the side intake that I like for my wall setup. I'll put up front. Obviously, I don't use the cage, but I decided to test it with the cage. It is louder, obviously. It is. But the sound isn't bad to me. It's not like something that makes me not want to buy it, but it could be different for other people. Like, it just depends on where it's located and if it's vibrating the floor upstairs for the kids. It's going to stay up here until somebody complains. We're having to use a 4.5 just like we did with the AR630. It's going to get a little bit higher PSI because it's about 1015. So let's turn it on. See that? It's definitely louder. Yeah, 1015. This just hums. Consistent. But if you're somebody who doesn't like sound, then this isn't the one that you're gonna want. It sounds like a big deal to you. I wouldn't get this. Still sounds better than anything that you're going to be probably graduating from, like an Active 2.0. Amp-wise, 12.4. All right, so here's with the spray and the unit standing right next to it. (91-92 decibels). Pretty loud. Go from here with this closer to the camera. It really doesn't change much, and I think it's because of that hum and how it carries. Like, it doesn't dissipate as much over distance. Here we go. We're teared out to 0 flow. This is the reason I picked it. I'm a numbers guy. Even a slight increase is better for me. 19.04 comes out to 2.28 gallons per minute, and that's at 1015 psi. Tell me that isn't good. The 630 was able to do 2.23, but at like 970 or so. We're getting more PSI and more GPM. Like I said, I'm a numbers guy, and I know with their stock orifice, I got the 2.3 at like 980, 990. One big plus for me is even though it's loud, the vibration isn't bad at all because it's double damped. You have rubber feet here, you have feet between this. So if you have the cage, you have that kind of double amount. One thing I want to say is these feet, they don't rub and leave marks on your table. Neither does the AR630. But the big boy products with their suction cup style feet, which are pretty cool, they mark up and leave black marks all over the surface. And this is the one gripe I have with UActiv. Like, great machine, good customer service that we've seen so far. Pretty decent launch. Haven't heard of much problems other than if people use the Uberflex hose, which they've been told not to. Wire braid only. Why didn't you think about the sound? Like, it boggles my mind that you didn't think about the sound. You spent so much time designing the fins to match the fins on the pump head. You totally decided to just not even think about the noise, unless with the pump head you were using and the motor you were using, you couldn't get rid of the sound. But I can deal with it. It doesn't bother me. It could bother others. Now, obviously I want to say that this is an echo chamber. So this is going to be louder in here than say it would be outside. That's about it. The 2.3 is my pick. You saw all the other ones. The videos will be linked below with all the individual reviews. Sorry I didn't show all the different orifices and all that kind of stuff, but it's just so much in one video. So don't forget to check out the links below for anything in the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. So if you're looking for more detail on the stop getting in my way. So if you're looking for more detailed information, go. What am I doing with that hand? I was like sitting like this.